All right, what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick Strength and Power. I've got a couple of interesting stories for you guys today. The first story that I've got for you guys today, a guest posing in a recent physique update from Kamal Gargni. So we are 4 weeks out, under 4 weeks out, really closer to 3.5, from the 2022 Mr. Olympia. Now, the 212 division specifically at the Olympia is one that interests me because it's a vacant title, meaning that what we already know is Derek Lunsford, who would be the reigning defending champion, is not returning to 212. He's doing open bodybuilding. So that title is wide open. There's no champion to beat. But in that lineup, you've got Kamal Gargni, and he won the Olympia before Sean Clarita. So it was Kamal, then Sean, and then Derek. And now we also know that Sean, even though he qualified for both 212 and open, Sean is going to be doing just the 212 Olympia, so he's not going to be competing in open. So we do know Sean will be returning to try to reclaim that title, but Kamal will be there as well. And in this guest posing and this physique update, he looks very sharp, but he also looks really full to me. He looks almost bigger than the last time we saw him on stage, which was competing in open bodybuilding. So he tried the same thing that Sean Clarita did, and even though he's aged 50 plus, I think this battle between him and Sean at the 212 Olympia is going to be extremely competitive. He's almost kind of got that Dexter Jackson effect in a sense where he seems like, even though he's one of the oldest, probably the oldest guy in that 212 lineup, it looks like he's almost even gotten better since the first time that he won the title. Then you've also got these recent updates from Keon Pearson where Keon looks more impressive than ever. So you've got this title that's wide open. You've got two former Olympia champions. You've got a question mark as to whether or not one of them is going to win or someone new, because it's truly not very often that you have a vacant title like that. When someone has won the Olympia the previous year, they don't typically just not show up the next year to defend that title. And that's not what Derek's doing. He's switching divisions, but you just don't have this happen very often. So it's a very unique circumstance. And for that reason, I think 212 is going to be an extremely exciting division at the Olympia this year. Now, next up in the news, you've got a physique update from Brett Wilkin. So Brett is 4 days out from a show in Spain called the BigMan Weekend. So yes, the qualifying window for the Olympia has closed, but that does not mean that the competitive season is over. There are still opportunities for pro bodybuilders to compete and then qualify for next year's Olympia. So that is what Brett's going to be doing, and this is him at 4 days out, trying to get some redemption after the Romania Muscle Fest Pro last weekend, where he wasn't able to secure the qualification for this year's Olympia against Beirut Tabani. So his game plan has changed, and he's going to be looking to qualify for next year. Now, with that being said, the lineup for that show has been released, and it's actually a little bit more competitive than I thought it was going to be. So here is the current competitor list for the BigMan Pro Weekend in Spain, which will be this weekend. You've got Khalad Al-Kazim, Kokeni Bella, James Bondi. That's a nice name there. Vlad Shiriak, Roman Fritz, Iron Galley, Kobe Efrock, Danny Kaganovich, Sibu Sisu Catello. So that's going to be interesting. I'm interested to see him compete again. I think he is severely underrated. I think he's got a real shot at winning this thing. He's one of my favorite bodybuilders in this lineup. Theo LaGuerrier is actually doing this show. So bear in mind, Theo just won a show. So Theo's already qualified for 2021, and now he's doing this show, I'm assuming, in an attempt to earn the qualification for 2022. So Theo is a show winner in this lineup. You've got Sergio Lima, Gianluca Di Lorenzo, Justin Mackey, Pablo Lopez Munoz. Andrea Musi is jumping in this lineup, another very competitive bodybuilder. Sem Nazim, Diego Nunez, Christian Pancorbo, Andrea Presti also jumping in here. Milan Sadik, Jan Turk, Vicente Santa Maria, and the final competitor on that list being Brett Wilkin. So the last competition that Brett just did this past weekend in Romania wasn't nearly as deep as this lineup is, and in that lineup, Brett took second at arguably his best conditioning that we've really ever seen from him. He looked phenomenal at that show from a conditioning standpoint. And Beirut Tabani was a guy that I don't think many people were expecting to be the victor. So this, I think, is going to be an interesting show. I think this is going to be a bit of a challenge for Brett. While going into the Romania show, I felt that he was the favorite to win. I don't know if he is the favorite to win this show. This is a pretty good lineup for the BigMan Pro Weekend. So even though we've got the Olympia right on the horizon, and like I said, that qualification window is now closed, you've still got some bodybuilding to enjoy for the rest of the year, even though it doesn't count towards this year's Olympia. You get to kind of see kind of a preview of next year's Olympia lineup. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Do you think Brett can pull off the victory at the BigMan Pro Weekend? Now, next up in the news, I wanted to show you guys this bodybuilder, and William Bonac is another guy that brought attention to him. So this was a guy that competed in the IFBB Elite Pro Mr. and Mrs. World Championship this past weekend. So again, the IFBB Elite Pro is the other IFBB. It has nothing to do with the Olympia, nothing to do with the NPC, nothing to do with the Arnold Classic Ohio. And that is where we got Michael Krizo from. He had to switch over to get into this IFBB. Long, complicated story. Now, this bodybuilder here, whose Instagram handle is Destiny5 and his name is Bodebi Davo Nadukaru, he just placed third in the classic physique competition of this Mr. and Mrs. World, in his category at least. And this was classic physique that he competed in, and a lot of people now have seen his posing video, which I'll show you in a minute, and also this pose from William Bonac, which was interesting. So Bonac says, now who else besides myself wants to see this young man to compete at the IFBB Pro League or the NPC Benelux, which I guess is an NPC competition over there. He says, type yes or no in the comment section if you want Destiny 5 to join the NPC Benelux come December 11th. This is the other guy that was hidden from us by the Elite Pro, just like our up and rising star, Andrew Jack. Well, mark my words, he'll soon be a part of the best as he switches and joins our federation. Now, he is competing in classic physique in this Mr. and Mrs. World competition, I believe, judging by the posing trunks. Honestly, to me, he looks more like he should be in open bodybuilding, but he did say he only weighed 101 kilos at this show, which is not very heavy. But honestly, he does remind me a lot, reading Bonac's post, he really does remind me a lot of Andrew Jack. He's got the same Nigerian genetics as Andrew Jack does. That's where he's originally from. And he's just got these crazy round full muscle bellies. Look at the delts, look at the arms. Very similar to Andrew Jack. And I think his conditioning just needs to be a little bit tighter, but he does have very good feathering and striations in his legs. You can see he is in pretty good shape. And I honestly was surprised that he was third in this competition, which I didn't think the guys that beat him were really that much better than him. And I kind of wonder, how long the IFBB Elite Pro is going to be around, because really the main reason I don't cover it is because it's not really a factor in the things that we're watching. The things that we're interested in, the Olympia mainly, that's kind of what we build up to all year long when we're covering bodybuilding and we're watching bodybuilding or watching these pro shows. It's really all about the build up to the Olympia. Who wins these shows? Who has the points? Who places where? The only reason we really watch all those shows is because it determines who gets to the Olympia at the end of the year, and it builds this storyline. So I don't really cover the other IFBB because none of it really is part of the storyline. And I think the best of the best bodybuilders, well, the best of the best bodybuilders compete in the NPC and the IFBB. So I really only want to see the best compete against the best, not the best compete in a smaller federation, and that's why it's so exciting to see Krizo switch over here, because this is the best. Now, next up in the news, we got another physique update from Derek Lunsford at under 4 weeks out from the Olympia, again showing off the leg development. And again, I got to take my hat off to Hani Rambod and Derek both for the massive improvements he's made to his lower body. I mean, back when he first hit the IFBB Pro League, that was his main criticism, was that his lower body just did not match the size that he had in the upper body. And now I think his legs are almost even a strong point. Look how big and separated his quads are. He is a serious threat. And I think maybe now that he's out of that 212 category and he's got room to actually grow, maybe that's why now we're seeing his legs look so much better. But I've got to say, I think Derek is extraordinarily impressive, and anything that people really could pick apart about Derek or say is going to be a weak point for him in men's open bodybuilding, he's really fixed. I mean, the legs would have been the thing that I said maybe a year and a half ago, but now clearly I don't think that's going to be an issue. He's got legs that are on par with pretty much any of the guys in there. You could have criticized him for his weight because he's coming from 212, but then he was 260 pounds at the guest posing in Pittsburgh with a six-pack. He had shredded abs. You could see his serratus. You could see his obliques at 260 pounds. So he's likely going to weigh, I would guess, in the mid-30s, maybe high 230s. So you can't pick apart his weight, really. You can't pick apart his legs anymore. His back is one of the best backs, arguably, in that lineup. He's an Olympia champion in 212. He's got really good flow, really good structure, almost on par with Brandon Curry if you're talking about V-taper and aesthetics. I can't think of one reason why Derek would be outside of the top 6 at this show if he's in shape. And we know he will be because he's coached by Hani Rambod. If you guys can think of a reason why Derek would not be top 6 in this lineup, please feel free to let me know in the comments below, because I think it would be absurd to not have him in there. I mean, he's done everything he needs to do. He looks just totally complete. He's very complete. And honestly, when he was in that lineup with Brandon, Hunter, and Nick, to me, he almost looked bigger than Brandon. And I would even take it one step further to say I wouldn't be shocked if we see him crack the top 3 at the Olympia. Now, the final story that I have for you guys today, you guys probably saw this post on Roelly Winklaar's Instagram page. He's going in for surgery. Now, what I do know is this is surgery for his shoulder. I heard about this maybe a month or 2 months ago, that he had to have this shoulder surgery, but I was told to keep it under wraps. And I was also told that this was the main reason why we've seen Roelly Winklaar downsizing lately, was in preparation for this surgery on his shoulder. That was the main reason why he wasn't training the same way. And because he wasn't able to train the same way, obviously there's probably really no reason for him to eat or use some of the supplements necessary as if he was training that way. So this is really the answer to that question of why Roelly Winklaar has been looking so much smaller, why he looks like he's downsized. That was all in preparation for this surgery, and I still have heard that Roelly wants to qualify for next year's 2023 Olympia. So maybe if this surgery goes well, God willing, hopefully it does, and he recovers quickly and all that, maybe we do see Roelly continue to compete and try to qualify for the Olympia next year. Maybe he's not done, not retired. But I guess, should he retire is another question. You guys can let me know in the comments section down below. And that's going to wrap it up for the video today, guys. I hope you did, in fact, enjoy it. Let me know in the comments what you thought about all these stories. Make sure you like the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe and click the bell notification icon if you have not already. And as always, I love you guys. Appreciate you guys. Nick Strength and Power signing out. All right, guys, don't forget to click that like button and subscribe to this channel if you enjoy the content. Also, check out my Instagram at Nick Strength Power, my Facebook page, which is simply Nick Strength and Power, my secondary YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Vlogs, for vlogs and bonus content that you will not see on this channel. And consider subscribing to my third YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Pokemon, which is all things Pokemon and trading card games, completely unrelated to this channel. So if you're into that, give that one a look. And all links to merchandise and social media will be in the description box below. If you guys want a Nick Strength and Power t-shirt, that will be in the Shopify link below. Have a great day.